Yeah. See, I'm new to yoga. Yeah.
It's Arizona State.
And I just do something that would relax. Yeah, that's the one I would see you often. And then have you heard anything about working on it?
Welcome everyone. So excited you're here. I think hopefully you saw to grab your little nameplate. That's what, and we're just having you sit anywhere, and that way people know your name and what neighborhood you're from. So we have just some of the handouts we have on the table. We have I always send this out every month, but I printed out the contact list. Sometimes it's nice to have a printout. As soon as I print it out, it's already out of date. I printed it out, and McKay Jensen of the East District is running for office, which means he needs to take a leave of absence from the program while he's campaigning. So, the newer versions will have McKay's name crossed out for now. And then if he wins his election, then he's not on the neighborhood board. If he loses, we have to have more. So. And then also the 2026 calendar of neighborhood district meetings and council meetings, and the brand new map with the new Brickyard neighborhood, very exciting, in the Northwest District. And then these emergency repair program flyers. This is a program that the city does, and Kirsten Garcia, when you get your draft agendas that I send out, I'll put on that she wants to present. She has asked to talk about this program. And so that's something you can decide if you want in your meetings or not. It's a really good program. It's a emergency repair grant for low and moderate income households, especially seniors, active military. Since you're the eyes and ears of your community, she wanted to make sure that you were aware of this program. So if you see needs in your community, you can direct them to this program. But please get some food. We have food from Hungry Hawaiian. So please ditch that. We'll give you a few minutes to get your food, and then we'll get started. Yeah, it's good. It's busy.
The rest of
I'm so sorry.
From Center Street south, and then
Why did you you like but I'm gonna go and like they just went to you must not. Just like at this Springfield, maybe like
People are getting their food, so we'll get started on this. I wanted to start with the goals of the neighborhood district program, and I wanted to hear from the city council since this is their program. I mean, anyone can be a neighborhood leader. Anyone can get their neighbors together to solve problems, but this is a specific program run by the city council. And so I wanted to hear their goals, and then I wanted to turn it over to Mayor Marcia Judkins, who used to be in the neighborhood program, correct? And even though this is a city council program, we need the support of our mayor, because one of the main focus that we have of our district meetings is the ability to talk to city staff. And they all work under the mayor, and so we'd like to hear her and about her support for the program and city staff attending our meetings. And then I'd like to open it up to any board members if you have specific goals for your communities, and then we'll go from there. Just a heads up, Council Chair Gary Garrett, he requested that at the beginning of each neighborhood district meeting, we show this slide. This is from City Code 2.29, where it describes the purpose of the neighborhood district program is to provide for public participation and involvement in city affairs and provide a mechanism for communication between the municipal council and the public. So we can be reminded what this program is for. Now, for my city councilors that are here, is there anything that you wanted to add to, let's see. Councilor McKay, was there anything you wanted to add to the goals or?
Goals of the program.
Councilor Garrett was pointing towards you.
Excellent. Okay. So we did meet. We had our meeting yesterday about the our goals into the next year. And we talked about homeownership again. Homeownership again is another goal that we have. And there'll be layers to that. Number 2 was enforcement. It's still a huge issue. We've made a lot of progress.
Code enforcement?
Yep, code enforcement, but it's been a, it's just a slow moving thing. And we learn as we do things, what works and what doesn't work. And it's still something we get an enormous amount of complaints about. And if we can get that worked out, we can do other things. Enforcement isn't an issue. It opens up other doors. So, and then the third one was, we do not, we have a lot of plans, right? We have general plans, we have neighborhood plans, and we do not have like an economic, we don't have an economic plan with the RDA for different parts of the city about like where commercial should go or what we should do for businesses. And we'd really love to nail that down. We'd love to understand better what is good for the city and what is going to be the best benefit and what people want. Mostly focused on the west side, downtown, and East Bay. And so we want to do a study on that and get the particulars on we'll just do a full study and find out what we need, what we don't know, right? And when we find out what we don't know, then we can work towards making a specific plan where we'd like to put, certain zoning in places or goals to reach out to certain businesses or certain restaurants or certain entities that would be best for those areas. So, we have the mall redevelopment coming up. We have a potential Walmart. So those are things we need to understand better and look into. So those are the three main ones that we're looking at for next year.
Yes, and those council goals, I think, fit in perfectly with the neighborhood program. When we have our meetings and we're talking to developers, it always comes up, you know, are these for sale, are these for rent, where's the commercial element? And of course, code enforcement gets brought up all the time, so I appreciate that, thank you. Mayor, did you want to speak about kind of your goals and support of the neighborhood program?
I thank you for all that you do, like really and truly. I was in the neighborhood program, but it was many, many years ago when it was divided into smaller little neighborhoods down in West Provo. And I do know a little bit of the work that you put in. I think you put in a lot more time. It's a little more organized now for sure. So I'm really excited to be able to work with the council and help them to achieve their priorities and their goals. And having all of you as boots on the ground is really important to give feedback to them and also to the administration, so we know, you know, how things are going, if we're accomplishing those priorities and goals or not. Something I did want to kind of address a little bit is I love the neighborhood program, and I think it's so important. And despite all of our best efforts, it seems like there are still some divides in the city. You know, we have east and west, we have renters and non-renters, we have students, and I don't know, just there's different divides in the city. And I think through this neighborhood program, we can come up with, you can come up with maybe ideas. I have some myself of ways that we can hopefully bring our whole community together, just feel like everybody is valued, everybody has a voice, and that we are all working towards the same goals. And so I would love for you to think on that and get back with me about those kinds of things. Honestly, this community aspect to me is so important that I am putting, because I know you guys get neighborhood grants and stuff like that, but I'm gonna put $20,000 as my salary every year to try to bring to have I don't know, projects or again things that bring our community together, the whole city together. And so I need your help to help me figure out how to do that. So thank you.
That's fantastic. We definitely know how to spend money for it. We always have great ideas for events and service projects and matching grants to improve our communities. Was there any of the neighborhood district board members who wanted to state any specific goals that they have or?
So when Patrice was talking, I was thinking about the economic plan and didn't hear that the east area was mentioned, but that's that State Street corridor. So I think we need some business development down there too. So I hope that will be studied as well. And then the other thing we're kind of concerned about and working on in our area is reducing graffiti. And we've got some ideas in our neighborhood for that, but I think that would help with the sense of pride and unity to reduce the amount of graffiti in the area. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Angie. Okay, did anyone else want to speak about goals that they have? Oh, yes, Laura.
I think it's always just participation and involvement, like getting our neighborhoods out, getting people's voices heard. It's always something that we have talked about in our district, but I think also a drive of the entire neighborhood district program.
Wonderful. Okay, anyone else before we move on? Okay, thank you very much for those goals. Now I'm going to turn it over to the board members to train the other board members. So one of the things I got brought up when I asked, what did you want to be trained on, was building unity as a board, working together as a board. In the old program, everyone was just with their own neighborhood, and now you're with these districts, and it's been a little hard getting together. So I've been really impressed with the Northwest District, previously District 4. And so I asked Beth Hedengren to come up and kind of explain how she works to unify her board, and they really work as one body. And so Beth, do you want to come up?
And because we work as one body, I have several of my board coming up tonight.
And just here.
Hey, come on up. Melanie and Kristen and Mel have volunteered to come help me because it seems to me that just my talking about how unified we are stupid. So I just want to say one thing, that when I remember so well the first time I came to a meeting like this, when we first were meeting together as executive boards, and I looked around at the people that were on my board, and I just thought, I don't even know any of them. I knew one. And I thought, I don't know, do I even belong here? It's really been a great experience to work together and to come to be really good friends. And because we are working together on things that matter. When Rachel asked me some of the things that she suggested that we could talk about, and we're going to talk about most of those. And so let's start with meeting as a board. Let me just introduce, the first time I was heading it, and I thought, oh, well, I'll come to my house, we'll cookies, it'll be great. And it was great, but then nobody wanted to come again. I don't know. You know, it's just hard. It's hard to leave your home and go someplace else. And so we just meet on Zoom. And we find that 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, most of you are done with mutual or whatever you're involved with. And we can just talk on our computers and get a lot done. Melanie, would you speak on how the meetings were?
Sure. Sorry, I didn't know exactly what I was saying. I just, from a personal perspective, I love that we do meet together, and I would say that my favorite part is that I feel like, it's kind of like kids, you know, 5 kids or however many people in our district. And I feel like we talk about the things that Rachel presents to us, and we will say, how high of a priority is that for us? Is that really relevant to our group? How relevant, and then how much time do we want to spend on that? And then I love that we talk about, and maybe I'm not saying what you want me to say, is that
perfect.
With children, you know, fair isn't equal and equal isn't fair. So sometimes we have neighborhoods that have more needs than others. And I feel like we do a good job of like saying, okay, what is your need in your neighborhood? And if it is something that feels pressing or is less than like what my need might be in my neighborhood, then I feel like we talk about that and we are unified in saying, I think that is important and let's address that more than other things. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
I love that you brought that up. One of the things that I love about the district program, as opposed to the old neighborhood program where we reach individual neighborhoods, is that we have to, you know, think about the other neighborhoods in our district. And we have to share resources. And if one of the neighborhoods has a need, all of us work together to help with that need. And it really, as Marcia said, you know, it's unifying our little corner of the city. And maybe there's some way that we can get all of our neighborhoods together and do that same sort of thing, that other thing. Okay. For the district meetings, as Melanie said, you know, we start with Rachel's draft, but then we go through it point by point. We say, you know, do we really need this? Or do we need something else more? And we figure out, priorities, we add our own ideas, we always determine a time for each item and think about the meeting from the attendees' perspective. What do they need? What are they going to be interested in? What will they need? Let's see, working as a team. Who did I get that to? Was that you, Mel? It's me, okay. It's me. So this is what I was talking about, how we, as a district, we work together. One of the neighborhoods will say we have this need. We'll say, okay, what can we do to address this? You know, do we need funding? Do we need a service project? Do we need to go to the city and talk about plumbing or whatever? And then we ask for volunteers to do it. And we support each other to do it, you know, and you'll see that in some of these other slides that we have here. But it's not like, oh, you go take care of it, you know, let us know how it turns out. It's let us all work together to do that. When Eric's neighborhood needed sidewalks, we all worked together to get those sidewalks in. Okay, working with city departments. This is you now. Is it?
So I'd just like to reiterate the fact that I think that what has worked really well for our group is that we have buy-in by each of the board members, buy-in meaning that we're all really interested in all of the different districts or neighborhoods and their projects. And that's been really helpful, especially as we have gone to the city to make appointments for them to talk about these issues. We've had, even though a particular issue might be in just one neighborhood, we've had multiple board members from the different neighborhoods in that district come and be a part of that meeting, which I think really tells the city employees that this is just this one neighborhood, this larger group. And so, so I think that's really helped. I think that one example of that, this wasn't a city one, it was a state one. We had an incident where we were all pretty interested in changing a signal light on a state road because of a major accident that happened. And we had, I think we had 4 or 5 from the board were there, as well as Mayor Judkins, who showed up for that meeting as well. And I think that sent a very clear message to the employees that we have a lot of buy-in here and this ought to be taken care of. So, and as the slide shows, you know, we have a plan when we go and we try to do a lot to let the city employees know that we really care about what they're doing, express that so that they get it, and we're appreciative of that. And then of course the last thing there is it doesn't hurt to bring cookies. That probably should be at the top of the list. That really always
Mel's always good to say, oh, I can do that. I'll go with you. And it's really neat because everybody has different talents, you know, and like we turn to Eric to do statistical stuff for us. You know, he'll analyze spreadsheets and figure things out for us. And you know, everybody puts in what they have to offer. Organizing events.
Okay, I'm going to reiterate a few points with this topic. I feel like organizing events gives your neighborhood, you know, residents an opportunity to come together. It is very unifying to serve together, whether it's just your neighborhood or the entire district or the entire city. So, as was said before, as a district, we really work together. We bring the interests of our own neighborhoods to our district meetings. We discuss them. We, you know, do our best to prioritize those things that are most important, whether that's most important just in one neighborhood. And, you know, they have a more urgent need than the rest of our neighborhoods, or if there's something that touches more than one neighborhood. So I think as you're organizing an event, don't be afraid to put your weight behind something that isn't in your specific neighborhood. kind of take turns and do what's best that can really move the needle and make each of those neighborhoods as great as it can be. I think one key thing to make these events work is you need one specific point person. So, and it doesn't matter who it is, maybe it's, one of the district members in that particular neighborhood or somebody that has some experience with that type of project. But you need to figure out who the main point person is going to be. And that's the person that's going to be, really masterminding this with the help of the rest of the board, and then delegating to other board members. This does involve meetings in between the quarterly district meetings. So like meeting on Zoom or in person or whatever works for your district. Lots of follow-up, accountability, we'll get together, meet, discuss, figure out what needs to be done, assignments are delegated, and then we'll meet again after people have time to kind of follow through, report back on what's learned, figure out next steps. That's super, super important. Also, utilizing Rachel, like she's an amazing, amazing resource. When you're trying to figure out how to accomplish this vision that you've come up with as a board, turning to her, she can point you in the right direction, tell you who needs to be talked to and who can help with certain things. And so don't be afraid to utilize her to give some guidance on like how to execute on some of these things. As a board member, you're over a certain neighborhood, make sure that you are leading out and encouraging those people in your particular neighborhood to participate in these events, even if it's not specifically in your neighborhood. It can still be a very unifying experience. This particular picture is from an event that we've done multiple times as a board. It's cleaning up the hillside at Lions Park, which, while it may seem to only serve one neighborhood, honestly, it reduces the fire risk to about 3 different neighborhoods in the city. And so this is a huge benefit. And I have people in my neighborhood that do not even live particularly close to this hillside that participated. And they said it was very wonderful. Like they were able to get to know people and reconnect with people in other neighborhoods. And they just were able to build that camaraderie and unity within, the people that were there. So those are kind of the main tips, I guess. So make sure you have a main point person. Yeah.
How do you contact all the neighbors? How do you reach out to them?
So that is a really good question. I think it really depends on your neighborhood makeup. Social media is a huge one, and that's also the easiest one, not gonna lie. We have circulated flyers in local church congregations, put things on bulletin boards, to get the word out. Signs. So like your neighborhood meeting signs, like repurposing those to advertise. And then we've also dabbled with like flyers on doors. In my particular neighborhood, it doesn't work well because I have hundreds of doors that I cannot put a flyer on because of HOA rules and whatnot. And we're not interested in breaking those. But for some neighborhoods, flyers might be a really effective way, get some kids in the neighborhood involved that want to go stick tape on everyone's door in a safe manner. I would say advertising is probably one of the hardest things, but those are some resources that we've used that have been effective.
Thank you, Kristen. I just have to say, these are fantastic people on our board. I'm sorry, the rest of you, but you can see. Okay, we do have this little tradition at our district meeting. We do a report on what we've accomplished since the last district meeting. And we do a little slideshow on what we've been working on. And when at each meeting, how the people who are attending, they can tell us what they're worried about. We write those down and then we work on it for the next quarter. And so we have a slide on what we're working on, and I don't usually make the slides, but But my board reports on what's been going on. And so just like we've been doing here, people come up and report on it. And we also discuss our plans for the future, like events that we're doing. So, you know, you all have been doing great stuff with your boards too, and I want to hear all about it. So what do you do, or what questions do you have? Do we have 5 minutes? What are some tips that you have from your board?
Food at the meetings always helps.
Food at the meetings is always good. Yeah. Food is great. I'm not kidding about the cookies when you go talk to the city. It changes the whole spirit in the room. Yes.
So one thing that we have been trying to focus on more and more is allowing more time for people's input during those meetings. And that hasn't always been easy to do, because if you have this agenda of items, then it can run into that time. But we've really tried to focus on that to give people adequate time to voice their concerns. And I think they've done that.
Yeah, that's been really important. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. And thanks, Rachel, for giving us this chance.
Okay, another topic that board members were interested in was advocating for your district and advocating for your neighborhood. So I've asked Sharon Memmott, she's been a neighborhood representative for years and years and years, and she is so good at going to the planning commission and city council meetings that I asked her to come up and talk about advocating for your district. And then after Sharon, I'll have Lynn come up and talk about advocating for her neighborhood. She consistently has neighborhood meetings between the district meetings and has done other things. So we'll turn it over to them.
All right, so I did ask Rachel to come up with some of the slides that you've probably seen before. It's the same old thing. She gave me 3 specific talking points. One was gathering information from city staff, which I appreciated. That maybe you don't realize when Rachel sends out her emails, there's always a planner assigned to any project. Anytime, by the time we're seeing it, there's a planner assigned to that. And so if you have any questions, that's who you should contact. They're there. Rachel told me yesterday they rarely get calls. I find that so hard to believe because I know I call them. But I will say I've called them less because Rachel's begun doing such a good job of sending extra information. So frequently my questions are already answered by what Rachel is sending you. But the planner's name is made available for you and any of your neighbors to call or email questions ahead of time. You'll see on the staff report a place, you may not have noticed this, a place where the city person has incorporated any comments regarding the projects that have come from the public. So if you look at a staff report for a project, there's a little box that says neighborhood concerns. And I have to admit, I hate when I see, we've heard nothing from the neighborhood. But to staff's credit, at some point they have to turn in the report. So if you haven't reported by the time they've got to turn in that report, that's why I said that. So don't freak out. You still have the opportunity to write to your planning commission and city council and let them know your concerns about whatever project. They do want to hear from you if at all possible before the meeting so that they have time to address those concerns. They can then do some homework and look up why the developer, whoever's being allowed to do this specifically, why it's being done. She has been talking about communicating with your community. Rachel has a great list of people who have signed up for emails from the city. If you'd like to send an email to your district, she can help you with that. Sorry for the volunteer, but I will point out, try not to send her the email that I have to have it go out right now for our meeting tomorrow. I apologize. Let's see, you can help by encouraging your neighbors to sign up for those communications. There will always be somebody who says, I didn't hear about that. No matter how hard you try. As was mentioned, there's Facebook pages. I wouldn't rely on Facebook because historically Facebook, I should say notoriously, sends me the info for this meeting tomorrow. So I just don't rely on it. I'll put it there, but it's not my go-to. As was mentioned, we walked flyers around neighborhoods. We rely on other neighbors' email lists. We forward Rachel's emails sometimes. If you do that, beware. If you forward Rachel's emails at the bottom, you'll want to erase the option to unsubscribe. Because otherwise they're unsubscribing you, not themselves. So just be careful with that if you forward an email. On Facebook. So she also has to speak about speaking at planning commission and city council hearings. I love this process. And that's kind of, this is my ask for this slide here. We have the opportunity to hear about projects before they come to fruition. It's exciting to me to be in on the conversation. Before the project becomes, I would suggest that you get familiar with your city's, with our city's Provo's general plan. If your neighborhood has one, get familiar with your neighborhood plan. They take a while to do. You can ask some of our district as they just finished the North Tempe neighborhood plan. It took a while, so if you want one, start thinking about it. Start talking to, well, I would say start with Rachel, let her know and ask her where to go from there. And as Patrice mentioned, there are other plans in our neighborhood. Rivers, trails, and I couldn't even get the list of them. There's so many different plans. Get familiar with them so that you have an idea as the project comes forward. Well, wait, that doesn't fit with what's in the general plan. And so that you can speak intelligently to why you feel like it doesn't follow our general plan. Or why it does. As projects do come forward, get familiar with the applicable code. So look at the details, ask questions. Find things that you like about it. If you can't find the answer to your questions in the staff report, then reach out to the city planner. Again, back to that. Rachel can tell you, and it should have been in the email, are we calling Aaron or are we calling somebody else to ask these questions? They've always been very sweet, very kind to answer any of my questions. You can email or phone call. If time allows, offer to have the developer come present to a smaller neighborhood district meeting. That's where Lynn has been exemplary.
Okay.
In our area. Remember to keep it positive as much as possible. No one wants to always listen to complaining. Bounce your ideas off the neighbor. If it's possible, present possible, reasonable solutions to what you see as the problem. You can't really say to the developer, well, we want it to be a park. He still has his rights to build what he feels would work for his property within code, and that's where again I say, get familiar with the code. Have some understanding of code helps with that. This may take a lot of questions at the beginning. As I said, our staff, city staff, have always been pleasant and willing to answer any of my questions, as I've been sincere in my asking. No, don't lead out with attacking. When you present at planning commission and or city council, organize your thoughts first. If there's time, send an email ahead of time with any extra detail or background you think might be applicable. I suggest you write it down, what you want to cover. 3 minutes flies by very quickly, and it's very easy to get nervous and forget something. You also have other board members who can tag team you and help with getting all your points across. They're allowed to speak for 2 minutes. Whoever's representing for your district is allowed 3 minutes. So that doesn't have to be your board member that's getting the 3 minutes. If it's in somebody else's neighborhood, let them have the 3 minutes. But you can follow up with 2 minutes and give any extra points that you felt like got missed. I just read something George Handley posted as he was leading city council that I thought was fabulous. I hope we get a chance to read it. It says that we should resist the idea of government as a service and think of it more as a collective responsibility. I love that. We're all here to be part of this, make the best Provo that we can all be. Keep in mind that our staff and our city councilors are all doing their best. Judgment is required, and as we let them know of our preferences or how we see solutions, it's easier to achieve better outcomes in the long run. Working together, we always get a better result. I know I've seen staff let developers and other people know they come through with a project, they aren't gonna like it. You're gonna have a fight on your hand. Or here's maybe what would help the neighbors feel better about your project. So give our city staff the feedback that you want to see. He also said something about we need more voices in the public square, but they ought to be the kind of voices we expect at the dinner table, respectful, inquisitive, even if we have to be critical. This is just a plea for fewer voices that only accuse and condemn, and a plea for more that ask good questions and offer helpful solutions. And I just want to end with thanking everybody who's willing to come out here and be part of this process, because it helps Rachel's job be a little easier, and city councilors and planning commission have a little bit better result for our city. So thanks. And you don't have to go by yourself.
Hello, I'm Lynn Sorenson. Oh, is this on?
I've turned it off, push it up.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, there we are. Hi, I'm Lynn Sorenson from Pleasant View neighborhood. And I sort of feel like we need a little head, shoulders, knees and toes. Everybody just want to stand up for a second and stretch a bit. And my side topic is unity within the neighborhood. I was noticing on the map that our neighborhood is actually one of the smallest, 10th smaller. But our neighborhood is one of the smallest geographically. So that gives us a head start on having more unity just because we're a little closer to one another. So what other things besides moving more people into your neighborhood or reconfiguring it can help you build unity within your neighborhood? One of the things that we found really valuable, since the district meetings are only 4 times a year, or is that right, Rachel? Only 4 times a year, we really need to have some neighborhood meetings. So we've tried to do that, and we also have committees within our neighborhood. For instance, we had a committee that worked with the Tim Tower people, that kind of monstrosity that is there next to the stadium would have been even more of a monstrosity if we hadn't had a committee and very welcoming, willing developers who were willing to meet with our committee numerous times. Of course, we didn't get exactly what we wanted. And I started saying, neither did they. Well, in the end, they did get what they wanted there. But we had input and they listened to us and they made adjustments. So it really helps to have a committee rather than just, one person or 2 people sending emails or whatnot. So we have had several committees as different needs have arisen. So I'm thinking of 4 that we've had during my time as being a representative. And some of them have gone away, like the Tim Towers one. I mean, obviously, we're not still doing anything about that. So that is a helpful way to build unity and to help your neighborhood be efficient. We all know that it's become sort of a trite aphorism about real estate, that the most important thing is, say it for me, location, right? For me, the most important thing as a representative to the district is Rachel Breen. very shortly after the new program was initiated, and especially at the beginning, Rachel was like really, yeah, I started to say buried, but she's never buried. She was swimming beautifully at the beginning with all the new things. And she received an Employee of the Month award from the city, and she is totally fabulous. Now, if you're sort of like me and you're like, I don't really want to impose on people, it's her job. So she welcomes phone calls from you, emails, questions, and the things that before, when I actually was the neighborhood chair before we had the district model. And it would take me weeks to find out things. You know, I called this and I'd ask this person and I'd send for this. And, you know, I would finally get some little piece of information. I go, phew, okay, well, yeah, what's next on my list? Now, Rachel knows these things. They're at her fingertips. So please use her as a resource. If you're brand new and you're thinking, wow, I hardly know where to start. That's where to start. Rachel Breen. So keep her on speed dial. So that's number one. The next thing is, and this is very recent, is her name is Julie Rose. She's a journalist and she is now making it her fun business. Nobody's paying her. She's just doing this as a public service to be at the city council meetings, the commission, the planning commission meetings, and to write it up in easy to read as opposed to minutes by some other person that is actually supposed to do that. Anyway, they're great. So you want to get hooked up with her. She sends it through Facebook. Her name is Julie Rose. And you can get on her list and it'll show up in your Facebook page if you have one. So what else? We do have Facebook pages for the neighborhoods and for the district. And if you are the neighborhood representative, you can post on your neighborhood Facebook page anytime, right, Rachel? But in order to post on the district Facebook page, it needs to go through Rachel, which is not hard to do. You send it to her, and she goes, okay, I'm great, she posted. So, I mean, if you were, planning some bizarre things, you might not say, okay, but I'm sure you're not doing that. So that is two other ways to keep in touch with people that you need to keep in touch with. I think that's it. If you just remember Rachel Breen, that is the very best way to start. And I remember the first one of these trainings I came to, they had all these presentations from the people from the sewer and from the parks and from the fire, and it was just like, oh, I have to keep up with the sewer. Really? Anyway, this is much better to what I need to do in my neighborhood, what do we need to do in the district, and it's really very fun to serve your neighbors. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. Those are, you're all experts, but those were kind of some of the ideas that people wanted to be trained on, and I thought much better to have the other board members trained on that. I will say, as far as asking me questions, this kind of goes back to Northwest District. Northwest District has a very good relationship with the city because of the fire mitigation at Lions Park. It is a lot of work. The fire department needs it done, and the fire department can't do it because it's private property. So they do this, and it is an overwhelming project. They do this project, and it's made it so the fire department is so on the side of the Northwest District that they kind of, I feel like the city treats you very well because they don't want you to stop doing that. It's so much hard work, and it has to be done, and the fire department can't do it. And Jeannie can't speak enough, Jeannie Atherton from the fire department. And so going with that, another thing, when they were talking about me being able to answer your questions, So before I worked for the city council, I worked for development services. And I did all their grandma requests, their government record requests. And they get a lot. Some departments maybe get 3 or 4 grandma requests a year. Development services gets about 10 or 12 a day. So they are overwhelmed. And so one of the perks from being in the council office is development services said, I can still do their grandma requests when it has to do with the neighborhoods. And that's why you get your information so quickly. So I'm certified in government records. I have permission from the city recorder and the development services department to answer your questions. And because it makes less work for them. And so it's that, you know, they're getting less work and you get the perk of it. And so, and that's why when you get those emails, I'm already giving you the site plans and all of that because I have that permission. And they don't want that to stop because they're like, you answer so many grammar requests for us.
So you're not allowed to quit.
So now I wanted to open it up to you. If any of you have questions, concerns, if you want advice, we have Malia Daly from the council office. She does have a request.
I do have a request. So during council meetings, Sharon mentioned neighborhood board members. So everyone else during public comment gets 2 minutes. Neighborhood board members per code get 3. That being said, I'm the one that sets how much time you get, and I know most people, but I don't know everyone. So if you are on the neighborhood, sometimes it's been awkward. Your 2 minutes runs up, and then I'm like, oh, sorry, you were supposed to have 1 more minute. So if you just come up, if you just look at me and like give a 3, Sharon is very good about that, and just motions a little 3, and I'm like, perfect. And I set 3 minutes, and then you're good to go. That's very helpful for me because then it's not awkward.
The same is true for planning commission meetings.
Same is true for planning commission meetings as well. You get 3 minutes. So they know you less than I know you. So when you go give public comment at planning commission, if you just go, oh, I'm speaking on behalf of the neighborhood and just say 3 minutes, they know that. And so you should be good.
And just to clarify, it isn't everyone in your district gets 3 minutes at that same meeting.
Yes.
It's whoever is the official spokesperson for that item gets 3 minutes. The rest of your board members can get up and speak, but they just get 2 minutes. It's just the official spokesperson.
Yeah.
Gets the 3 minutes.
For example, Sharon, I'm going to call you out. Did really good. Sometimes she'll say, oh, I'm just speaking as myself. Don't give me my 3 minutes. And she'll just do 2. And then sometimes she says, oh, I'm speaking for the board. And then it's 3. So it takes like 5 seconds, really quick and easy. But then we avoid the awkward of your mic muting and still talking. So.
Okay, does anyone else, Lynn?
I wanted to add that 2 minutes is hardly time to say your name and what district you're from. So I wanted to encourage you, whenever possible, to send email ahead to the council members or the planning commission members or whoever it is that you want to talk to. And at least 2 days before their meeting, at least 2 days. If it's the day of, guess what? They won't have time to read it and that will all gone by the wayside. So yes, speak in the meetings, that's great, but you can really have your point 1, ABC, point 2, ABC, whatever in your email and really get across what you want to the city council members or the commission or whatever group that you're addressing. If you send that ahead of time, it'll get a lot more attention than just your 2 or 3 minute pop-up. But don't skip the 2 or 3 minute pop-up either.
Okay.
And that's what I was gonna say, to that point. It's still helpful for city council to see you. Oh, I sent an email, so they don't need to see my person. They do. It helps. It makes a difference that I've still sat in those meetings and listened to them say from the dais, oh, yes, nobody cares. Nobody came. Are you kidding? Right? No matter how many emails they've gotten, it still helps for them to see. I mean, even ones where Rachel sent in the report, everybody's in favor of this project. And so that's what I get up and say. I'm here. I was asked to be here to report that everybody loves this project the way it is. Go. And I think they appreciate seeing that we were engaged. We're still on board. It's not just gone over our heads.
Okay, Sarah?
I love when I email the city council and then they'll bring up my questions in the public, and then I don't have to use my
Yes.
3 minutes. Because they'll bring up the question, their concern, and then the applicant has to, it just makes things faster. So I love it when their questions are echoed with something I email them.
Yes, absolutely.
And also Sharon's done this, but we allow them to bring other people if they want. Like if Sharon can't make it, and even if no one on the board can make it, and they send it a citizen and saying, hey, I'm here for Sharon, we'll let them. We respect that.
And I just wanted to ask, Counselor Whitlock, you served on the planning commission. How important was it when you had feedback or when no one was there to give?
It's obviously very helpful. Again, earlier the emails, the better. All city councilors, these are part-time jobs for us. Planning commission, it's a volunteer job. And so it's sometimes hard to find time to read the emails, particularly the day of or the day before. Weekends are a good time to read emails. So I would even shoot for like Friday, Tuesday meeting personally.
Yeah, I've even heard where the either the city councilor or the planning commissioner said, I received this email, so I drove out to the property to see if what they said. So they do read them, they do take them into account. Did anyone else have any questions, concerns? Anything? Oh, Mel.
I just had a point of clarification for Sharon. So you mentioned a neighborhood plan. Were you, we looked at each other and said, do we have a neighborhood plan? We didn't know if that was it.
But I don't know where to find it.
Is that just part of the city, a subset of the city plan? Is that what you're talking about?
Rachel to look it up. It is a subset of the general plan. There's,
Okay.
there's a general plan, then there's something else I feel like, and
plans.
then there's a neighborhood
Okay.
plan. Yes. There's a lot of plans out there.
Designed by the city.
There's one website, there's one URL that has all the plans in the city. It has the map, the general plan, and then all of the neighborhood plans.
But keep in mind, Beth, as you go to look that up, because we used to have one for the Edgemont and Timpview area, it's disappeared in some, I don't know, as they changed computer systems or whatever. So at the moment, there are not that many neighborhood plans. And they do take a long time. The city works really hard to get it right so that you have that to refer to, so you can say. So look it up if you can't find it and you know it's there. Sorry. You might have to have Rachel try to grandma it if she could find it, but I know we looked for ours, which we know was there and it's gone.
Of course, Rachel.
Oh, look at that, you found it.
Yeah.
So this is, it's also in the city code, of course, the, policy analyst finds it in the city code. I find it the, easy way. But, on the city website, under planning, it'll have the general plan, gateways plan, and then when you scroll down, neighborhood plans. And so these are the ones that have been done. So downtown, Mazer, Southwest, Franklin, Temp, Southeast, Joaquin, and there's that new Northeast neighborhood plan. That was the latest one that was done.
Who creates them? Who generates them?
It's correct me if I'm wrong, it's the city planners and they usually have a team. Bonnie, you were on the team for the Northeast plans, right? So they usually pick a few people from the neighborhood leaders and some other residents to help them, but it's done by the planning department. And it usually takes a few years, right, Bonnie? It's a process.
Yeah, they try and get business stakeholders, private stakeholders other than homeowners, so like churches, the university, anything like that. And then they try and get previously neighborhood chairs, now neighborhood board members to participate and help actually draft it and go through a bunch of revisions, open houses, a whole process.
Thank you.
So I think the Northeast was several districts, was it not?
Several neighborhoods. Was it North, Timpview, River Bottoms, and Sherwood Hills? Yeah, so those three neighborhoods together.
So it can be divided up, it can be small, it can be big.
Yeah, it could be as small as Temp neighborhood plan and as big as the, Southeast or Southwest neighborhood plan.
I just have a comment that I just thought about. Remember how I said, you know, as we've worked as a district, we've come to care about each other's neighborhoods and work together to. And I know the city, this is what the city council is, you know, they bring together representatives from all over the city to do it. But I think it would be nice if sometimes we could get together representatives from all the neighborhoods and talk about what are our goals for the city, you know? And think about what is our vision for what do we want Provo to be? And that would be another way to have representation. And as we talked about it, you know, like I was talking to Daniel here as we were standing in line, he was telling me some of the problems he has in his neighborhood. And I thought, my goodness, you know, that those are serious problems. And I wish I could help him, you know, and so I wish there was a forum where we could all get together and talk about what our concerns are and share, you know, what do we want for our whole city? What's right for Provo? What do we want? What do we want Provo to be? And anyway, I just would love that if we could do that.
Oh, Councilman Locke.
So I just looked, and what do you think is the oldest neighborhood area plan? I don't know what that means. I don't know what neighborhood you live in, sorry.
Joaquin.
Yeah, Joaquin, exactly, yeah. 2012 to 2014, so that's the oldest one.
Meeting.
Yeah, but it's a good one.
How often can you revisit the plan?
No.
So that
Our goal is
kind
to
of
get everyone
comes
done.
back to, right,
Yeah,
and once
some people that
done.
Takes a lot of staff.
They have to get the city on board, whatever department it was that, they put a lot of time into it. And of course, there's other things they're working on at the same time. So,
They need help.
well, I mean, obviously they asked for help from the committee, but
Yeah.
they spent it was at least a year. I think it was 3 years. I think it was.
Do you know which areas are missing, Patrice?
Yeah, everything that's not there.
Well, it doesn't matter, the thing is, it's tough to know, because it doesn't, yeah,
Some are collective.
yeah, they're collected.
West of Geneva Road. Like the west.
Southwest is up the west.
So
West.
northwest.
Yeah, no,
Just say 2012.
Nothing.
So where that's disappeared to.
I will say too, if you have a neighborhood plan, to know it, Joaquin knows their neighborhood plan like nobody's business. And so when I see a developer try to put a multi-family thing south of 500 North, I tell them on the phone, it's like, that will not fly. We told the Joaquin will go out there. They all know the plan. They're like, 500 North is the dividing line. That's single family homes. That other stuff goes north of it. And they know their plan. And yeah, I've been really impressed at how well Joaquin knows every detail of their neighborhood plan. And I've seen the planning commission be like, oh, well, it's the neighborhood plan, so they're gonna follow that. So I've been impressed. So know your plan if you have
So
one.
does the neighborhood have input on the neighborhood plan or is it just the city?
It's usually, Bonnie, you went through this recently. How much input did you have any open houses or was it just you and your group?
That's why they're so expensive.
So Bonnie, how many neighborhood people were on the committee? Yeah, because it's business owners and things.
Every aspect of what it has to make sure.
Okay, do we have any other questions or anything for the open forum? Oh, yes.
I'm just, I feel like I'm still pretty new to this, but how you kind of become, like, if anyone has tips or advice, how you kind of become aware of what the people in your neighborhood's concerns or needs are. Like I know some of my neighbors, but not a lot. So maybe it's also I'm in the downtown neighborhood, so it's probably not as connected as some of the others, but yeah, I'd love to hear thoughts about that.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Get a dog and walk it.
And
I am not I'm being facetious. We got a dog recently and I have talked to my neighbors more walking the dog than I did before. Now it does self-select for other neighbors that are also walking their dogs most of the time, but that's still neighbors.
Yeah.
I am part of 3 groups in my neighborhood. Everybody in those groups knows that I'm with the neighborhood council. I also have done some door knocking. Haven't gotten to everybody yet, but that's my goal. Rachel helped me print up a little flyer last year so I could take it and leave my contact information, things like that with people, as well as so they could scan the Facebook site so they could get on the different mailing lists as well. I get their email as well. So when I want to get questions from the neighborhood or feedback from the neighborhood, I can send out my own email and just get feedback. And I've been getting calls from people when can you help me with this? Or do I have to go to the city council myself? So.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for just being the lifeline of your communities and how much you care. And I appreciate all you do. Thank you so much. Oh, and do not throw away your little name tags because that's what I use for the meetings. Bring those back to me.
Please leave.